Welcome to another UCL Fantasy video. This is my team selection ahead of Matchday 6, the final matchday of the group stages, and I'm going to be talking about how I did in Matchday 5 and then looking at my transfer plans ahead of Matchday 6. I have three free transfers. Let's see what I do with them and let's get straight into the video. So in Matchday 5 I scored 53 points and it was my worst matchday of the season so far, and I went from around 567 rank to 2,544, so it was pretty poor and I was expecting it. I was saying this in my streams and my team selection. I had a lot of injuries, a lot of doubts, and other areas such as Cesar Azpilicueta being a rotation risk that I just knew it wasn't going to be a great week. But still, some few positives. Karim Benzema as my captain got 14 points. Lewandowski with 6, even though honestly he could have probably scored more goals. Adeyemi with 1, he's been very poor since I got him in. Sane with 2, that's a blank now for him and he's been doing so well throughout the season but just couldn't sustain that. Let's see how he does in Matchday 6. Mohamed Salah once again doing pretty decent with 8 points. And yeah, obviously Salah's consistency is on another level this season. He's up there with Lewandowski. And yeah, then of course you have Danjuma with a blank, Azpilicueta blanking, coming off the bench, Alvarez, Okafor all blanking, and Destanoglu 2, which I'm not too surprised about. He didn't actually even play Destanoglu. And looking at my defence, Eder Militao with 7, so he was a decent purchase. Thomas Meunier with 4, so despite Dortmund being quite shaky defensively, he got those ball recovery points in there. Cancelo with 3. And Laporte with 0, he didn't even start. So across the board, it's just very, very poor. Mendy though with 6. So a few decent results in there, but nothing special. And you compare it to the run I had from match days 2 to 4, which enabled me to get into such a strong position in the first place. This was miles off and was pretty much half the points I was getting throughout that period. But now let's look ahead to match day 6 and look at how my team selection is currently, and then look at my transfer plans to address some of the issues I have in my squad. So a few more issues now arising with my squad, such as Karim Benzema, and it looks like he's going to be missing out this game against Inter Milan, the decider for their group. Carlo Ancelotti said this in his press conference, and in their last game for Real Madrid, Benzema was substituted off around the 17th minute mark, so it's not looking good for him. And across the board, there's so many different injuries and cases to actually keep up with, but on the whole, Benzema is going to be the main concern. And going into this, I was already looking at Okafor and Laporte as two weaknesses in my side. Okafor was just a bad transfer on my part, but looking across the board, there are still some positives heading into this. Mendy, I'm quite confident in, especially if he does start. Chelsea needs to still secure first place. They have qualified already, but it's still a battle between them and Juventus for first spot. Eder Militao is looking pretty decent. Same with Joao Cancelo. Thomas Meunier could be decent for this fixture. And of course, he's been another poor signing, to be honest, ever since I got him in. Azpilicueta should start against Zenit, you would think. But once again, you just never know with these sort of things. But of course, if Azpilicueta does start, he could be a very good option, whether it's as a centre-back or as a right wing-back. Those ball recoveries he gets are very vital. He looked like just a must-have at the beginning of the season, starting around 5 million, but he has lost his way and his spot in the Chelsea starting 11. Also Sane, Salah, you look at Lewandowski, they all look pretty solid. But then the other players, obviously Benzema pretty much being ruled out of this game week. You've got Adeyemi, Alvarez, Laporte himself, which I mentioned earlier, Destanoglu, Danjuma even. Azpilicueta, let's see if he actually does start, although I am fairly confident, I'm not entirely confident. And then of course Okafor, so I'm kind of happy with half of my squad and quite displeased with the other half. But at the moment, looking at the dates, of course, remember to change the captaincy between the 7th and the 8th of December if need be, and of course to have everyone on your bench playing on the 8th of December. Don't have anyone playing on the Tuesday, the 7th of December, on your bench, because then you're going to miss out on their points. You want to have more control of the substitutions. Currently I've got the captaincy on Salah because once again Benzema is injured, and my captaincy for the second day, if needed, would be Robert Lewandowski. And depending on which players blank on the first day, they will come out for those players on the 8th of December. Mendy, Danjuma, Azpilicueta and Okafor. But once again, some of those players on my bench aren't exactly great assets to have at this moment in time. But let's now look at my transfer plans and how I can kind of address some of these weaknesses. And I encourage all of you to kind of leave your suggestions down in the comment section below with free transfers. What would you do with this squad? And if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. So without making any transfers, I would have 0.1 million in the bank, but with the transfers I have proposed, I would have 0.2 million left over. Now this is kind of inconsequential because we do have unlimited transfers heading into matchday 7, i.e. the round of 16 first leg. So right now what I'm thinking of doing is getting rid of Karim Benzema for Sebastian Haller. I could also go for someone else, maybe his counterpart Vinicius Jr. And in midfield, I could also make a few adjustments. So I could get Okafor out for Jorginho, and in defence, I could actually get Otamendi. Now, that might seem a bit bizarre, going for Otamendi, but he is facing Dynamo Kiev, who struggle to score goals. And Otamendi, other than the games against Bayern Munich, where in one he didn't feature, and in the other he only got 1 point, but he's gotten 11 points against Dynamo Kiev before, including man of the match, I believe. And of course, he did the same thing against Barcelona. He was absolutely amazing against Barca, and he was probably the single reason why Benfica were able to get such a great result, and they're in control heading into that final tie. And it looks like Barcelona have a very good chance of getting knocked out and going back down to the Europa League. So I think Otamendi could actually be quite a shrewd purchase. So it's not kind of everyone's cup of tea. But Otamendi has been very good this year for Argentina and also for Benfica. I think he could do a great job here, and I am actually backing him to be a great replacement for Laporte. I'm happy just having Cancelo. I'm not even sure if Laporte will actually start. That's kind of another matter. And if he does, double seated defence against Leipzig, I probably wouldn't back against it. And Leipzig have just recently sacked their manager. So I probably will be going for someone like Otamendi in defence. But of course, he's not the only one you can go for. Having said that, right now, looking at that fixture and what he's done beforehand and the great form he's showing, I think Nicolas Otamendi, I know it sounds very weird, he could be a very good purchase. Then, of course, getting Jorginho in for Okafor. Chelsea could still rotate some players because, of course, they already have qualified. They've got some important games coming up in the Premier League, including Leeds at the weekend. But still, this is a great opportunity for Chelsea to just win their game, be in control of their own destiny, and finish top of their group. And I think Jorginho, he's on penalties, he can get the ball recoveries, and you never know, the occasional assist here and there. I did have Jorginho at the beginning, but I just got rid of him, I think, on my wildcard for Danjuma, and that's when Jorginho started being such a great asset once again in UCL Fantasy, as we know, and he got a crazy 18-point haul. So that's kind of another decision that went the other way, and I'd be in an even better position if I hadn't have made that. Of course, a few bad calls on my part. And Sebastian Haller, the top scorer in the Champions League, I think he'll be very determined to continue starting, and him and Lewandowski are pretty much fighting for the Golden Boot for the Champions League. That's going to be a very tight one between both of them, and I think if Haller starts, he will just be a great option. And of course, Ajax were trailing and they brought him on and he changed the game, so I think they will probably start him. Of course, I can't tell you that with any confidence. Some Ajax fans might actually contradict what I'm saying and have more information on the matter, but I think it's a good chance of Haller starting. And this season, he's just been such a great asset throughout every single game, so consistent, and I think he can do it one more time. And if you actually remember, he is facing the same team that he scored 4 goals against in matchday 1. I have to say, Sporting have improved since then, but Haller is fixture-proof, and I think he could do very well. And I am replacing Benzema, who is injured after all. Otherwise, I would have been happy to keep Benzema and make a transfer elsewhere, although maybe I wouldn't be able to afford Jorginho in for Okafor if, I kept Benzema. So there's kind of a lot of stipulations, a lot of different routes I can go for. Like I already said before, let me know what you would do with this team with free transfers and 0.1 million in the bank with the current team that I showed you earlier. And thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Remember, you can join the Discord server. The link is in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. And of course, you can join the league just like you can with FPL. If you haven't already, check out my FPL videos too and my live streams. And of course, we've been very consistent recently and pretty much over the last few months, to be fair. But there's so much, so many games to cover, so much content to do. So I really appreciate you choosing to stick by, and all the very best of luck for matchday 6. Hopefully it's a good one. And let's bear in mind, there's going to be a lot of rotation. That's another thing that really, it always strikes in UCL Fantasy, rotation in matchday 6. So don't be surprised if some of the kind of premium players, the most expensive ones, and those that have been doing so well this season are benched. It's kind of normal. You have to take it on the chin. Hopefully rotation is on your side here. And of course, just enjoy the football. That's the most important thing. Thank you very much once again, and I'll see you next time.